Hey family, this is your girl Shannon Jackson, also known as the People's Nurse. Do me a favor, before we even get started, click the like button and subscribe, because today we're going to be talking about dead-end situations and some tips how to come out. Stay tuned.
Wake up everybody, let's elevate your mind. Live your life without limits, no more wasting time. Don't forget to stay focused while continuing to stay on the grind.
Once again, family, I'm so glad to have you with me today on this topic called dead-end situations. When I think about a dead end, it reminds me of a warning sign when you're driving down the road and you see it posted at an entrance of a street or a dead end road. And what that means is there is no exit point. You're either at the end of that road or a cul-de-sac. In other words, you got to change your direction. And this is what I want to talk about today. Sometimes in life, you can also be dealing with dead-end circumstances. It happens to the best of us. But have no fear. If you find yourself in this situation, feeling stuck, like you've hit a brick wall, like nothing is happening, it is not the time to panic. It is to let you know that it's time to make some changes. So to help you, I have about 4 key tips that I want you to take into consideration. And the first tip is don't panic. Immediately, panic tries to take over. Because when we feel like nothing is going to happen, like we hit a brick wall or I'm just stuck, the first thing we want to do is feel what's going to happen. What am I going to do? Fear overtakes us. Anxiety takes over. We are so stressed out, we cannot even think clear and make good decisions or judgment. So the first thing is to calm down and relax. We all will experience going down the wrong direction from time to time. I can remember in my earlier years, I made a lot of wrong turns. But guess what? When you get in that place, instead of staying in that situation, the best thing you can do is to make a decision to make a change. So you want to acknowledge it and make up your mind to change your direction. Let me tell you something. The worst thing you can do is stay going down the dead end direction when you know you need to make a change. I'm reminded when I was young, and many of you may have heard my story, I've told it publicly. I was a single parent at the age of 15 and then turned around 4 years later and had another baby. So that wasn't the right direction that I was going down. But the first one, I didn't learn anything. I thought love was going to take care of everything. But like Tina Turner said, what love have to do with it? When the second baby came along, it was like an aha moment. And I had to look at it and say, this situation that I put myself in, this box is dead end. Nothing is going to come good out of this unless I make a change. So I'm not telling you something just to tell you. I'm telling you something that I had to apply even in my own life. So like I said before, the worst thing you can do is see the situation, know that nothing is going to come out of it, and stay that same course. But the best thing you can do, which is step number 2, or shall I say tip number 2, identify what you really want from this dead end situation. What do you want to happen? Have you really taken stock on what do you want to take place? Because what I find many times when we get stuck in life or we're just going into that brick wall, it's almost like we have no compass and no focus, no sense of purpose or direction. So you have to take time and pause and say, what do I want to accomplish? This is not working. I know this is not working. But take time to reflect. What is it that I want to see happen? Many times we're vague in what we want to see accomplished. But here's a key tip. We use it a lot in business. They teach it a lot in leadership classes. But guess what? It can also apply to you in your personal life. So the first thing I want you to understand is that you have to set intentions and purpose and have plans. You have to allow yourself time to clarify and ask yourself questions like, what do I really want? What is it I want? What am I trying to accomplish? What am I setting out to do? Frame your desires and hopes and formulate a plan. I recommend you use the SMART acronym, which stands for specific, measurable, and achievable, relevant, and time-based goals. Each element of the SMART frame works together to create a goal that is carefully planned, clear, and trackable. Here is a simple example to give you on how to create a personal SMART goal. Starting with being specific. Dedicating 15 minutes a day to self-care. How are you going to measure that? Every Sunday, set up a weekly calendar dedicated to 15 minutes of doing daily self-care meditation activities. That's just one example. What's achievable? Ask yourself, is 15 minutes a day possible? Can I really do that? Because sometimes we set unrealistic expectations on ourselves, knowing that we already are overcrowded. So whatever you're going to do, make it achievable, something you know you're going to be disciplined to and be consistent with. Is it realistic? Check in to determine, have you made the time to do this? Did you set a time? Make it time bound. Aim for 4 weeks, but make adjustments as you go along. Using this SMART plan can help you kind of make incremental goals to decide, how am I going to go about getting out of this dead-end situation? Feeling stuck, feeling overwhelmed, feeling lost. Many times when people, as a matter of fact, when you reach a dead end, oftentimes you're not trying to get there. You got there by accident because guess what? You were lost. You were lost. How did I end up on a dead end street? Unless it was a cul-de-sac and somebody lived on there and that was the design of that. Outside of that, when you go on a dead end street, you're lost. And so it is sometime in life. We are at certain situations where we are lost, where we just don't know what to do. And that's why this second tip on making SMART goals will help you define and frame what it is you want to do. So what's our third tip? I think out of everything that you're going to hear me say today, if you don't remember anything else that I said today, remember this: nothing will change if you don't make the change. Nothing. And it starts with the mind. You will have to make the change for change to happen. Oftentimes, we want to take the responsibility of change and put it on other people. But it starts with us. And as we begin to take ownership and accountability of the change, then others will come in through either support or resources to help you in your change process. But you have to own the change. If you are at a dead-end situation or feeling stuck, the first thing that has to happen is you have to have a mind and willingness to make a change. And remember, nobody has the power over you except you to do it. And oftentimes we want to always say, I hear people say that all the time. And in my earlier years, in my infancy, as I was developing and maturing, I used to always say, I can't do this because of this and because of that, or because of this, or blaming this one or blaming that one, instead of taking responsibility myself. So I had to change my mindset. And sometimes that's a simple mindset change, and say, you know what? This situation has happened. Whether it's a relationship that you know that's not going anywhere, it's not meeting your goals or meeting your objectives, whether you're on a job and you're feeling unfulfilled and you don't feel rewarded and you feel your skills can be better served somewhere else, whether it's just something personal you want for your life, something that makes you feel good about yourself. Maybe you have career goals or whatever it might be. It's going to be different for each person, but you just can't stay in the wish mode or the desire mode, or because something didn't happen the way you want it to happen. You have to make up your mind and decide, I'm going to make a change. So it starts right here. A willingness to be open to new ideas, new direction, and new possibilities. Family, we just made a change in the studio today. We are starting using a desk and not always using a chair. And I'm loving the change because it gives me freedoms with my hands. Something simple. It doesn't always have to be big. Small changes. You can reward yourself with success when you can see progress in small changes. Don't always expect it to be a major thing. I love the story about the tortoise and the hare. Why I love it so much is that everybody's in a race to get going, but sometimes making small steps, incremental changes, and being consistent will reach you to your goal even faster because you develop discipline and skill, and you're consistent in what you're wanting to do, and you're determined what your end result is going to be. And that hare, he was racing. I'm gonna beat, and he ran out of gas. But that tortoise was just taking his time, like a catwalk. Slowly going. But eventually, due to his consistency and determination, at his own pace, he won the race. You're not in competition with anybody except your own mind. So be willing to make that change. And the last tip that I want to leave with you: rest, recharge, and focus on self-care. You cannot allow being stuck or dealing with challenging times to become so overwhelming that it begins to be an emotional crisis for you, or a weight or burden, or you're so burnt out or worn out, you don't even have the mental capacity or the emotional endurance to come out and make a change. Take care of yourself. Your health, your physical well-being, as well as your mental well-being is so important, especially when you're in a situation where there's a crisis or things are not moving the way you desire, you're feeling stuck, you feel like you don't have a breakthrough. It's so important that you love on yourself even more and take time to renew. And you know what's going to happen with that renewal, family? You're going to feel refreshed. New ideas are going to come. New energy is going to come. Maybe a new direction in which way to go is going to come. However it ends, it's going to be favorable to you. So if you take along those 4 tips in your journey when you're stuck again or feeling in challenge, I guarantee you're going to be able to come out, and not just come out, but come out victorious, refreshed and renewed with a new focus in mind. So that's all I have for you this week, family. So remember, as always, stay connected to us on our social media sites. Visit us at livingyourlifewithoutlimits.com, where we have a wealth of information, from free resources to what's going on our calendar. And as I always end, and I love to end with this because I want to remind you every week, remember to love yourself. Just give yourself a big hug. Take care of yourself, because guess what? You are absolutely worth it. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.